Welcome to Movies Are Life. I'm your host, Nathan Chandler, and today we are exploring the touching and humorous journey of love, family, health, and culture in the number 31 film on the 50 Best Rom-Coms list, The Big Sick. It's been a while, but joining me today is my better half, Whitney Chandler. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm great, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah, if people don't know, you are a wonderful and terrific mother. You do so much for us, and we got to have a lot of fun celebrating over the weekend.
We did. Got to do all my favorites. No makeup, pickleball, eat at a restaurant that we don't have to wait in line for. Like, we don't have to have a reservation. Yeah. And then we even got to have dinner out with a deal, and I love a deal.
If people were wondering why I married you.
Well, there they have it. Except I don't love deals like clothes deals or things like that. I don't like to go thrift shopping. I don't like to cut coupons. It's just food. I want a deal on food. I want a good, that's about it.
Yeah, we don't have to go into a lot of details, but we went to a restaurant that we haven't been to in a while because we've always said it's really good. It's kind of expensive for what it is. But I guess they haven't upped their prices lately because we went there and we were like, oh, this isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
It was cheaper than Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Well, everything in the world is cheaper than fast food right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, one of the fun things that we got to do was watch a new movie that was out. And it was The Idea of You, which is streaming exclusively on Amazon Prime.
How did you guys meet? We need to know the story.
We met at Coachella. Hi.
Hi.
This is your trailer?
Yeah, I'm in the band. We're performing on the main stage.
August Moon?
Yeah. I met someone tonight. I feel a little inspired. This one's called Closer.
It stars Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galitzine, and it chronicles the love affair between a single mother and the lead singer of a popular boy band. We started this film, and I had no idea when we started it that it's directed by Michael Showalter, who ironically is the director of The Big Sick. So it seemed like it was fate that we just paired these two movies together.
You didn't know? That's why I said I wanted to watch it.
You wanted to watch this new movie because it was the same director?
Yeah, because I knew I was going to be on this podcast. I'd done all the research, and I knew, so I asked you to watch it.
No.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I always do a lot of research.
Right. No, I exclaimed, oh, Michael Showalter, and you're like, who the hell is that? So if people aren't familiar with him, he's a comedian. There was a comedy troupe that had a real popular show in the 90s on MTV called The State. And one of their big movies, they've done a couple of movies, but the big one is Wet Hot American Summer. Have you seen that?
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people would recognize his face. Some other Ken Marino was in that group. Also, I can't think of his name, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine, not Andy Samberg, but his kind of like nerdy friend with the short hair. He was part of that group, whatever, but he's been doing lots of directing gigs. So this is his newest movie, and so very different than The Big Sick. So don't think that
was Michael Showalter in The Big Sick?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he just directed him.
Yeah, just directed him. So anyway, the two movies are very different from each other, but just out of the gate, what was your take on this? From what I'm seeing is kind of becoming a popular streaming movie, whatever that means these days.
I had fun with it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the storyline of for what it was worth. The whole time it read to me it showed to me like a novel.
Right.
Showed to me,
and it's
because it was a novel, right?
Yeah. The novel was written by Robin Lee. It's spelled Robinne. I guess that's just another way of saying Robin, but yeah. So it is based on a novel, and does kind of feel like that.
So I think the novel would have probably just been better. Like, I really liked it, the movie. I had fun with it, but I could never decide why she liked him and why he liked her because they didn't develop it enough. But they really developed the sex scenes, and those read just like those novels. That, man, you can listen to those novels now, and you're blushing in your car, and you don't even know why. So I mean, they really developed that. That was different for me than a normal Anne Hathaway movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was not The Princess Diaries. It was something. But I thought she was good in it. I liked her, but I don't think they gave her enough to work with to develop her character. I never knew who she was. I never knew who he was, except that they just were together. And so I thought that was kind of weird. But as far as, like, the idea of this boy band and traveling and the shots and, like, was it stimulating, like, with my eyes and all that? Yeah.
Yeah. The connection between the two, and like you mentioned, the physical connection. Like, I felt like both of them did a really good job. Like, I felt the chemistry there. The movie just doesn't really explain beyond that of like why they are so connected. So it's almost like it almost yada yadas over maybe scenes where they had like deeper connection about things in life, you know. They kind of touch on the fact that she has a daughter who's in high school, and so it just I guess he's fine with being the possible stepdad to this to this child, and he assumes the roles and stuff.
Who's like the same age as
yeah. So it very much like you said, it's a good movie. Like I enjoyed the watch. There was kind of these moments here and there that felt a little sloppy, like kind of cliched at moments and stuff. But yeah, I just felt like, I mean, it's kind of interesting compared to The Big Sick, I will say, because, and we'll talk about The Big Sick more. I think what makes it more successful is that it really seems to be kind of seeped in reality a little bit. And all movies are a fabrication of such things. This movie is almost kind of the opposite approach. Real things happen. Like there's Coachella and there's these moments, but like you said, like I kind of almost equated it to like a beach read. Like it really is not. It's not completely realistic because it doesn't dive into realistic things.
No, it's not realistic, and she doesn't look your normal part, but it might have been in the book. I feel bad because I haven't read the book to like give it credit, but it's like it just like glossed over. It's like you're like, well, he's beautiful, she's beautiful, of course they'd be together, as opposed to like she nurtured him or something. I don't know. It's like there was no rhyme or reason as to why they were together.
Yeah, but like a good beach read, sometimes that's kind of like all you want. Yeah. And so this movie is successful in that. But I think I kind of enjoyed the premise and I enjoyed the actors in it, that I just kind of wanted a little bit more from it. But other people might think that I'm crazy. And
it is a lot of sex, though. Just
There's really not like a whole lot. It's just that one particular scene.
Yeah, I guess, but it was a little out of nowhere.
Yeah. I did enjoy there's one kind of pivotal moment where she joins the other groupies essentially that are touring with this boy band out at the pool, and I kind of enjoyed some of the dialogue that went back and forth between those two different groups of people.
Yeah, no, I like that part.
Yeah. So, well, that said, let's go take a trip to Underground Chicago Comedy Club and to discuss today's main feature, The Big Sick.
I have to tell you something, babe. I've been dating this girl. She's white.
A white girl? Hey, you can't look like you and a white girl.
It's okay. We hate terrorists.
I wonder who that could be.
I'm guessing it's a young, single Pakistani woman.
This is Zubeda.
For your files?
Your X-Files?
That's your favorite show, huh?
The truth is out there.
The Big Sick is a 2017 American rom-com film directed by Michael Showalter and written by Emily V. Gordon and Kumali Najani. It stars Najani, Zoe Kazan, Holly Hunter, Ray Romano, Adil Akhtar, and Anupam Kher. I apologize if I mispronounced those. But Gordon and Najani wrote the film based on their relationship. It follows an interracial couple who must deal with cultural differences after Emily, played by Kazan, becomes ill. The film had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 20th, 2017. At Sundance, it became super popular, and it basically created this bidding war. And Amazon eventually won it because Najani really wanted this to appear in theaters. And at the time, Amazon was purchasing these type of films versus, going straight to Netflix. It was a surprise summer success, one of the most acclaimed films of 2017, and one of the most successful indie films because it had a budget of $5 million and it grossed over $56 million worldwide, which is kind of crazy. I remember it being popular at the time, but it kind of surprised me that it was that popular. Yeah. So I believe we went and saw this movie together in the theater. I'm pretty sure we did. Do you have any recollection of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I do, but I don't remember where or when. What year was it?
It came out in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little after Hayden was born. So anyway, my initial review on the movie, I've really always really enjoyed this movie. I thought it really held up again this second time around. What about you?
Yeah, I did too. I really, really liked it. I still have a hard time with it being a comedy, I guess. I think of it more as a dramedy.
Yeah,
and so hitting this rom-com list is weird to me.
Yeah.
That's not really what I think of it as.
Yeah.
Even though I really liked it, but I think it's going to have a hard time in your scoring system.
Yes.
And I don't think that does it justice. So since I like to score movies out of 10, I would give it like an 8 out of 10, which is really high.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can score it that high on your system of a 5. And I obviously can't because yours only goes to 5 and mine goes to 10. But
why are you coming on and just dodging my system?
I'm not. I do.
I'm sorry. Dogging my system.
Yeah, you can't even say it. I'm not. I don't know. It's just true.
I just want to say Letterboxd, which is like the uber popular social media platform for movies, goes on a 5-star basis.
Okay, you win.
Well, you hit on what I actually think the thing that makes this movie so good, because all of it is centered around love. But what I liked about it is how, love for somebody else affects the world around you. I think compared to a lot of the other rom-coms that we've watched, it's very centered on this couple. And Emily, the character in here, she's essentially taken out. She's in this medical induced coma. And so it really focuses on, basically almost like a forbidden love, especially in his, with his family and everything like that. So it's more about like, his love with his family, how this relationship affects this, his love with his work, like his individual passion, what he's going to do. And then also this, I think, love that develops for Emily's parents, like when they're in the hospital. And so I think that's definitely the strength of this. Cause like you said, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great movie. I love it. I just think it's interesting. It's hard to look at that.
Yeah. Well, initially I think when seeing the list, and it was almost kind of like, oh yeah, The Big Sick, because it's definitely, I think, has some really, really funny moments in it. But like you said, more of that, dramedy category versus like kind of a rom-com.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's not as slapsticky, but it's also...
It's still funny. It's really funny. Obviously, he's a comedian.
Yeah. Right.
And so those parts are funny, but there's a lot that's not funny either.
No. Yeah, for sure. So we kind of touched on it, but he, very much, I mean, you can feel that it's like this material's it comes across very authentic, because obviously this is a film that he wrote with his now wife. And so it very much feels like that. It kind of seeps across the screen. So a big part of this, he talks about his Pakistan culture. And so it talks a lot about that, family dynamics and love. How do you think these themes were portrayed in this film?
I thought they were portrayed wonderfully because... through my work with like youth and government, we've met lots of different families that from Pakistan, from different places, that even though they have these cultural norms for them that are very much seated into how they're going to live their life, they still have so much love, where I think that sometimes we think they don't have that much love towards one another if they live in such a rigid culture. And I think that is just totally disputed here. I mean, like, they have a deep love and they laugh at one another and they can carry on, but they just have this like black and whiteness to them that's like, this is how you're going to do it. But yet there's a lot of comedy. He's obviously a comedian born out of that, which is even funnier.
Right.
And so I really like how they portrayed it. I loved the continual door of girls coming to the house and the same things that are said and the expectations put on him and but how the dad responds, how the mom is really in charge of the whole thing is just like very set. I just think it's great in that scenario. So.
Yeah, I was doing some research, and apparently Kumail said that, you know, he in writing this, he really bemoaned the fact that so many Muslim characters were so frequently depicted as overly serious. So he really wanted to avoid the stereotype, and I think that really comes across because even the way they like joke with one another, I mean, it's just like a family dynamics, and I love how it centers on the characters, but it doesn't like harp on these facts of like, oh, look how successful they are. Look how you know, like they're in an American home, you know, and all this stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And then I kind of wondered if he did indeed have a one-man show, but I liked how he poked fun at himself of like how quote unquote bad the one-man show.
And it was so terrible.
It was so bad.
So bad.
But equally, it also works really well, I feel like, because it's kind of, it's educating us as an audience as well. But in the same hand, being funny because of how bad it is. So I mentioned, you know, so they based this film on their real life experiences. And I mentioned it feeling authentic. Did you feel that while watching this movie?
Oh yeah. I mean, I forgot that it was his story, and so I think that was like with his now wife, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I think when you watch that, it's a very fun part of the story. But I can see that playing out, and then I can see him having a totally separate life and world with his comedians that isn't part of his Pakistan culture, and like all of those. Like they still cared about him greatly enough that they were going to move across the country together. And I thought they did a really good job. And I thought that I just liked the dialogue. It always felt really true to how you might actually talk to somebody. Like just the way they like go back to their house and like he's got an air mattress. His place isn't great. You know, like the whole thing is just funny. And yet they kind of made fun of it and they kind of like just embraced it as we're poor young people. You know?
Yeah. So you don't have to lie here. Is that how you felt like my house looked like when you met me?
I never thought about it, but yes, very much so. He had a twin bed that was like creaky and crawly, and like I don't even know how your back survived it. Like dipped down in the middle.
At least it wasn't a mattress on the floor.
I don't know if that might have been healthier for you.
I don't know with that house. That house definitely had some foundation issues for sure.
I don't know. For sure.
You could I got a step workout just walking up and down the hallway. It was kind of inclined a little bit. I really like that these two characters kind of, you know, it does remind you of that kind of young love that blossoms where, you know, those things don't, you know, I mean, they would definitely matter to some people, but like, they just kind of focus on their connection. You just don't worry about those things as much, you know? So
I feel like because it was a true story, their connection is so much like deeper than most rom-coms. Like I could really see them together because they were writing about real people.
Yeah.
You know? Even though those two I wouldn't normally like put together.
Right.
But like, and that was not his real wife, just in case anybody wonders. But like,
correct, yeah.
Like through the story, you could really see them together. And I thought just because it's really well written, same with her parents, like you could see them like together.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I feel like a scene, I almost kind of forgot about this, but you talking kind of remind me of it. But just the scene where she has to poop in the middle of the night and how they handle that. I just think that's a really sweet scene because that is kind of like a pivotal moment that happens in every couple's life. So it's played for laughs, but also very much like a development, you know, between those characters. So I thought you could maybe kind of give it a little bit more insight to it. So a lot of this movie takes place when they're at the hospital. And she's been induced in a coma. I mean, the scene where he just has to like basically sign for her. I mean, to me that moment, I was sitting there going like, man, that would be so intense. I know people have to do that all the time, but I can't imagine putting myself in that. But this whole world of the hospital, it just reminds me a lot of how you talked about you did a lot of hospital visits with your dad, and you were correct.
Yeah, but I did not know where I was coming to play in the hospital.
Yeah, I know. I realized. What? I looked at the.
Like, I don't know
I saw
how
the look
I'm
in
going
your
to
face.
answer this.
Well,
I do not work at a hospital.
No. This movie reminded me of that. My mom went through a big health scare, and at that point, there wasn't a lot of times I had been in the hospital very much, and I just remember like I very much, we were engaged at the time, but I just the way I just hadn't handled something like that before, and it just reminded me. This movie reminded me of just that bond that. We already had that bond, but just the support that you showed through that just kind of
it intensifies anybody's like just him being in there watching somebody. I did not know where you were going with that, but I understand that. I do think also just like when you take it, like I traveled with a lot of students and we'd have to sign for them and be responsible for them and make the decision. Like I had this kid that I had to rush to he had an allergic reaction. We had to rush him somewhere on one of our trips, and we're 18 hours away on a bus. Like I'm like, what do? You can't like, what are you supposed to do with these kids? And you make that call. And if you can't get a hold of their parents, like you're in charge of making this call. And I think you just become a little more like even just taking this kid to the hospital. Like you have conversations, like they're worried and they're stressed. And so you just have this more intimate, like he sat in that room with her, he watched her. Mm-hmm. Now she was not there, but she knew that he was there with her at the beginning. And so I think you do develop this like more like you're worried about him. You have this intense like moment and they're in there with his parents. You just go through this like intensity that definitely does. Yeah.
And so we talked a little bit about how great his family is in this movie, the supporting characters. Also, his group of friends at this comedy club. But then in comes Ray Romano and Holly Hunter, who play Emily's parents, who have come in, to basically take care of her. And I think they're amazing in this movie.
I loved him in the movie. I love when she defends him, and she didn't even know if she liked him. But like she was so mean to him. Oh yeah. And then at that comedy club, she's like defending him against that jerk like guy, and I just loved that scene.
This fantasy scenario.
Go back to ISIS.
Toast is a really strange food.
What did you just say?
You put bread and you make it.
Come on.
I said he should go back to ISIS.
Toast is the only food
that is a really confusing position. I mean, do you want ISIS to have more people?
No, I was saying
Guess what, everybody? We got an ISIS recruiter here.
All right, glad we got to the bottom of that. Toast is like
What is it about him that made you say that?
I think we know what the answer is.
Lady, I wasn't talking to you.
We don't have to go down this path. We know what's at the end of it, and it's
because of how he looks.
There it is.
Yeah, she instantly warms up to him. I mean, he has to kind of fight for that. And
well, because the daughter had told him everything.
Yeah.
Like, I love that the daughter is so close to her mom and dad, even though they don't live there, that the daughter had told her mom all about the breakup, like in detail, about the pictures and everything.
Yeah.
And
he's shocked by this.
And and the daughter, I mean, the mom so stood up for the daughter that she's just like she's done with him. She didn't care. She was done with him. And she couldn't really rectify why he was there.
Right.
And so the dad was like, I got you, buddy. Like, it's okay. Like, I see you still here. And it took her a little while to
Yeah. And that's kind of one note that I had, that this movie just, it hits a little different now being a little older parent. Now we don't have a child who's like college age, like Emily is in this movie. But that moment of like, we're getting to the age where, thankfully, we're still in a spot where our oldest like tells us things, and that kind of moment made me laugh. And I see the relationship that you have with your mom. It's like, yeah, of course she would know everything about him, and he almost has this deer in headlights look as like, oh my gosh.
Well, I think take out culture and where you're from. A boy does not. Well, most boys I know don't say all of those things like a daughter does. Right? You know, some do, but not all of them. So I thought that was funny.
And the scenes that when, spoiler, when Emily does come out of the coma, between her and her mom, her and Holly Hunter, they don't have a lot of scenes together, but man, you feel that connection between them like instantly. I feel like they did. It's very subtle, but I feel like those two did a really good job where a lot of it had been laid out to, you know that exists because it's been told to you. But I even read, I didn't notice it, but they both have like the same necklace on to kind of like show their connection and stuff like that. And so, that's definitely a strong point of this movie. And you remember the TV show Men of a Certain Age with Ray Romano? Yeah. So like we liked that show a lot, and that kind of gave him a chance to kind of, I mean, he was doing a comedy thing, but kind of showed his drama chops a little bit. But I feel like this was another like thing where he was like, I'm more than just a comedic actor. I can kind of show some depth
because
there.
this is a dramedy.
Because this is a dramedy. Yeah.
I kind of mentioned it too already, but just the night they met and she like heckled him and he said stuff right back. I'm sure all of that happened. Like, that's why he liked her, was because she had that kind of personality. But then I also just liked like going back to his apartment and stuff. It never felt schmarmy. Like I thought they did a good job making that just seem like young love and not like schmarminess.
Yeah.
Because I think even if this was only 2017, but like now that would be a little like, but I thought all of that was good. I liked those scenes. I thought her reaction to finding a box of pictures was probably dead on. Like, and you didn't feel like you knew he didn't really care about those women either, that this is just like his practice he did with his mom. I liked those scenes around their table, when they're showing them, you know, at home, when he's at home with his family.
Yeah.
So I just liked all of those scenes.
And I liked how, this portrayal of this relationship, I mean, especially the breakup scene that they have, I mean, it is so real because you really can see completely the sides to each of them. You know, sometimes when there's fights between, especially in rom-coms, it's easy to take just one person's side over the other. And this one, like, you can see, you know, it means him losing his family completely. And, you know, he completely shows that on his face, but then you totally get like her side of, you know, things. And so it's a unique setup, but just portrayed in a really amazing way. And I think another thing that I even kind of forgot about this movie is that, you know, besides the fact that it's dealing with someone who's in a coma and possibly going to lose their life, you know, a kind of dark subject material, but also there's a lot of dark humor in this movie.
For sure.
That I thought was great.
You've never talked to people about 9/11?
No, what's your stance?
What's my stance on 9/11?
Anti. It was a tragedy.
I mean, we lost 19 of our best guys.
Huh?
That was a joke, obviously. 9/11 was a terrible tragedy. And it's not funny to joke about it.
We watched this with Hallie, and it kind of, I'm not saying, I mean, obviously racism is everywhere, but I did think it was kind of, I haven't heard as much. Unfortunately, it's kind of moved on, I think, right now, rampant as far as the Israel war and everything like that. But I kind of realized that she might not have been around as much hatred jokes as like how distrusting Americans were of Muslims.
Yeah. Or any culture. Yeah, but for sure. I think you're right. She was kind of like, I don't understand that joke. And she didn't get it. And I mean, she's 13. But yeah, we had to kind of explain that in a way that was like, well.
Yeah. Well, even with this movie coming out in 2017, it was still very fresh. And even though that wasn't that super.
Of course, we've just cycled to new racism in our world.
Yeah. But even though, that wasn't that long ago, it was kind of a moment where this movie had a little bit of a timestamp on it.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Sure.
Because I think so much happened with the Trump presidency and then COVID and everything else, not that chapter's ever closed, but I thought that was almost like a educational moment for Hathaway where she was like, kind of like, wait, why do they hate him that much? And why are they heckling him in the crowd?
Movie Musings.
I really laughed at the scene where he sits her down to show her one of his favorite movies. And I was wondering, did I ever force a movie or television show on you?
Did you ever? Do you every day of my life?
What are you talking about?
That is like always and forever. This is like the theme of Nathan.
What do I force on you?
Nothing. You just are real excited to show me something and you want to know. I mean, now you know which ones I'm going to like and which ones I'm not going to like.
Right.
But you've always done that to me. It was always a test to see. Always a test.
No, I don't know when it was, but there is a moment when you realize that doesn't really matter in a relationship at all.
It kind of does.
It does a little bit, but I just realized there's just some things in my life that I might cherish that it is completely fine if you absolutely hate or have no interest in.
Yeah, but I was really in when you knew I loved to go to movies and that my family loved movies and they talked about them. I mean, the first time that my family went with Nathan to a movie and we popped up and all of our food that we took into the movie and we popped up, all of us went psh, 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 as we opened our soda cans that we also illegally snuck in. I did think Nathan was maybe going to break up with me right then and there and never go back. And I still don't think he really appreciates it, but he's okay with taking candy in as long as we've bought popcorn or soda.
I
think that night we took like lasagna.
It was embarrassing. They spread out this picnic blanket just right there in the center aisle.
We didn't, but we could have.
No.
Anyway, but I do think it matters if you like movies and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wondered. I was trying to think if there was like something I was really excited to show you and hoped you loved, and you did it, and dealing with that disappointment. I don't know if
that's me every day. I always want to watch a movie I've seen. I want to watch you watch it, and I want you to laugh at the scenes that I think are funny.
I know.
And when you don't, I get a little sad.
Yeah. My whole issue is you just want to watch the movies you've seen before, but how do you even get you to that first initial step? You have to see the movie, any movie that you see for the first time is a new movie.
I know. I'll watch them too, but I don't like them as much as the movies I've seen.
Yeah, true. Okay. I was wondering, so we talked, a big part of this movie is the way his family sets up, they have arranged marriages. Hopefully your parents never picked out a future husband for you, but I was wondering if you were ever set up with somebody before.
Yeah, I've been set up with people. By my parents or by anybody?
By anybody.
I was set up with somebody by my parents one time.
Oh, when was that?
I don't know the exact date, but my parents were living in Liberty, Missouri, so I was at Baylor, I guess, or somewhere, Texas, living in Texas. But I went up to my mom kept telling me this cute guy worked for her at Ethan Allen. And so I went up there and we had gotten like 6 tickets to the Big 12 championship game, which was between OU and the Kansas purple team.
Kansas State,
not Kansas State.
Jayhawks, yeah.
And so it looked like a big bruise in the Chiefs Stadium, but it was snowing and all these things. And so we had 6 tickets and I didn't have a date. And so my mom was like, you can take this guy. He'll be thrilled to go to the Big 12 championship. So I'd never met him. And I got set up to go with him to that game.
I didn't know he was at that game with you.
Yep. But we said
never heard about that part of the story.
Well, and the embarrassing part was like my mom and dad and Jeff and Debbie set in four seats, and then he and I sat in two other ones somewhere else. And it was snowing and freezing, so we had to like make small talk and freeze our butts off, and the stands and our feet were in the snow. Anyway, so I was set up. It was fun, but I lived in Texas and he lived in Liberty, Missouri, like 11 hours away. So it wasn't like you knew anything was going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
But he was cute. My mom was right. Cute.
That's funny. So in this movie, I'm interested in what you think about this question. At one point, Holly Hunter's character talks about the doctors and basically says that doctors are winging it just like everyone else. And so I was wondering if you believed that or not.
I think everybody's winging it.
Yeah. Does it scare you a little bit to think that doctors are doing the same thing?
I think they're going off of their best knowledge.
Yeah.
I think they're taking everything they know and going off of their best guess.
I feel like
they would disagree because they're going to say it's scientific and they've got x-rays and stuff. But I'm surely, like, when they're first asked, they got to just think on their feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do feel like doctors are great at just saying something immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you would trust a doctor that gave a long pause after he asked a question.
Yeah. But, like, I can just make up something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you would give that long pause.
Yeah, probably. Not probably, but no, yes, I would. That's probably why I'm not a doctor.
Well, I'm not either, because I would make it up and just fix something on somebody that was made up.
So we shouldn't start our practice with...
No, don't come to our firm. Our doctor friends are
a doctor who was completely
you guys
wrong,
are idiots.
and a doctor who instilled no confidence in me whatsoever. That's funny.
Rom-Com Rankings.
I think they have great chemistry, and I think it's weird because I don't think either one of them as being attractive people that instill romantic chemistry.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, unlike Idea of You, the other Michael Showalter film that we just reviewed, they are like both beautiful, and I couldn't figure out what they had. But then these two are just like goofy, like you and I, and here they are in the movie.
People look at us and are like, how did those two?
No, they're like, I see how they found each other. But I don't think that on either one, they're like, oh.
Yeah. So 1 to 5, how do you rank their chemistry?
Oh, their chemistry? We're already to the scoring?
Yeah.
Oh. Their chemistry, I give a 5.
Nice. Yeah.
Even though she wasn't awake, it's not like while you were sleeping. Because she had met him. Because I was judging the chemistry on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the way they dialogue together.
Yeah.
I think it's like how we dialogue together.
Yeah.
Or we think we're funny. I think they think they're funny.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, very good point. I ranked it that high as well, and you perfectly explained why. Because I was not wrestling with my initial feelings, but it's like, why? Yeah, why is that the case? So yeah, no, I'm trying to move this podcast along. There's a Thunder game on, so that's it. So the best friends component. I thought this was a little interesting because we don't really see a lot of her friends in it. Obviously,
see her parents?
Huh? I know. Well, that's what. Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Like, do you feel like her parents are that?
I guess this is just a life question. Can you view your parents as your really best friends?
I think you can.
I mean, I think I can, but can you?
Yes. So
so I don't even know why this is a
well,
question.
Like his friends are like his core friends are in the stand-up club, stand-up comedy club. A.D. Bryan and Bo Burnham and them.
But I don't know. This question always is weird to me. It's hard, because I think this question really is saying, how good are the supporting characters to the movie? Not, does this character have really great best friends? And sometimes the answers we give are like, as a friend, they suck. But really, was their character good? And I think all of the characters that are surrounding this movie are good. So I think that's the real question. I guess I need to find what is the real question. Is it the characters and how they're written, or is it their actual friendships to him?
Oh, I think it's more in like the support of the movie.
If it's in support of the movie, I give them a 5.
Yeah.
If it's Are They Nice Friends, I think those comedy guys are just all kind of in it for themselves.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
for sure.
they're really that good of friends.
Right.
But 5 on the supporting characters surrounding the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. So this one I feel like is maybe a little unfair. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the soundtrack. I sent you a link.
I didn't.
Today.
You sent it. You told me to listen, and when you said it was a score, I thought, nope, not doing it.
Nope. Yep.
So I'm sorry, I didn't listen.
No,
to it.
it's okay because
I could look it up real quick.
Well, no, you don't have to do that. It's I listened to it. It's a very nice soundtrack. Fits the movie perfectly. You're probably not going to remember it. Actually, when thinking about this category, I was trying to think, did this movie even have like any popular songs in it or anything like that? And save maybe a song at the end. It really is just the score. So I mean, I was just going to give you like a.
You can tell me what score to pick.
Yeah.
I'll pick it.
I said a 3. I thought it was good.
I think a 3 sounds good.
Yeah. If you had it on in the background, you'd be walking around enjoying it, I think. So, okay, and this is another hard one. The chase scene or declaration of love. So, because this movie is interesting because, she wakes up from her coma and, her parents throw her the big party. He shows up and he really kind of, professes his love for her. It doesn't go well. But then she connects with him later and kind of apologizes. Not apologizes, but, she's able to reflect a little bit more. And they kind of go their separate ways. But I really liked this a lot because to me, I gave it 5 hearts because I liked how it ultimately played out to the end, because once again, I feel like this movie is realistic in that like, she was asleep the whole time, that these feelings really emerge, especially with her family. And it just reminded me a lot of just like, I always said that's part of the reason, like, I fell in love with you. I fell in love with your family as well. And you see how that develops. And I like how she's able to explain in the movie that, like, all these, like, big emotions you're feeling, I wasn't there for all of this.
Yeah.
And so, and I like how
she still chases him to New York.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah, like at the end, which I think ties up really well at the end with where she heckles him again. Yeah. And so.
Yeah. It's not, that's why I go back to it's not a rom-com. It's not the big chase scene, but I still think they have the cheesy hook at the end.
Right, yeah.
Where she chased him. And so, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so.
I have to give it a 4 because it's not really a.
Mm-hmm.
We're not chasing through the city of New York. You can't put it in my. You can't put it in my wedding video. You know.
Well, she had that cane. She really couldn't move that fast.
That's rude. Dark humor of you.
No. I think it plays into this movie a little bit. Rewatchability. What would you give it?
Oh, I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
I take it back on these scores.
Well, you perfectly said it, that, it really, rom-com is kind of odd for this, but like when you sit down with it, I mean, it really is, but I don't know. I don't feel like they sat down to write a romantic comedy versus how some of these movies are very much leaned into that trope.
Formulaic.
Yeah. But it kind of molded itself to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think it makes this movie set apart from other romantic comedies?
I think probably the trueness to it, so that helps with it.
Yeah.
Just like the realness. I mean, all of the culture dynamics change it. The hospital dynamics. I mean, I think if you had gone to write that story, it would seem too unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But because they had something to go off of, it made it feel realistic, so you could go with it. I think otherwise you'd be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, I agree.
Recommendations.
Did you have anything you would like to recommend right now?
Well, we're not done with it yet, but Come Away Home, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying.
No. Huh? It's Come Far Away.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway.
Come From Away.
Yeah, we were both wrong.
It's such weird wording.
I don't like that about it. But we went to the Sooner Showcase, which is our local theater in town. Both girls are there, and they had their big showcase, and they sang all sorts of songs. And so I really enjoyed 2 of them. One was
Fiddler on the Roof.
No, one was Come From Away. What's it called?
Come From Away.
Come From Away. So we had never seen the musical, so it's on
Apple TV.
Apple TV, and you can watch it at your home too. And I've enjoyed it so far, but we're not done because Hayden wants to watch it, and for some reason Hayden really gets it, and I don't understand why because it's kind of hard to follow.
Sort of gets it,
but she gets it. It's weird. Except she was making fun of a part that was like not a place to make fun of. It was kind of serious, but it was really good. And then the other was Fiddler on the Roof, but I think that Hallie's right. I think they did it a little sarcastically and made it funny. I don't think actual Fiddler on the Roof is funny.
Yeah. Fiddler on the Roof is a blind spot for me. I've never seen it.
No, but I didn't want to see it because I thought it was boring, but the way they did it was funny. So now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will tell us.
I looked it up on IMDb, and it has something like an 8.0 rating, so it's probably something we need to watch. I just always remembered seeing it, like...
It has a what rating?
It's at 8.0.
Oh, because it's out of 10? Wow. Talk about a hook at the end of a podcast. Talk about a callback. Our life could be a romantic comedy.
I think I remember it at Blockbuster Hastings, and I think it was the double VHS. Like it had the big.
It's
wide
that
box.
long?
I think so.
Oh, I'm out.
See,
it's probably black and white too.
It's not black and white.
That's good.
Yeah.
I read another book by Emily Henry this week, and I really liked it a lot.
What is it called?
I can't remember now. Love Story.
I think so.
And I really liked it, so that is.
You're the one that read the book. You're like, what's that book I read again?
Well, you're supposed to remember everything that I do because that really helps me. It was called Funny. It is not called that. It was called Funny Story by Emily Henry, and it's brand new, and I really liked it.
Great.
Yep.
Was it about a single mother who's in her 40s? Who joins a
boy band
on tour?
It was not.
Oh, okay. Well, and I quickly, I can't say if it's totally good or not, but the show Hacks season 3 has come back.
I love the first episode.
I love the first episode. Great. It's just a great show, and so anyway, we'll see how that pans out. Well, as always, visit our website moviesyourlife.com for all our episodes, reviews, and more. And please tell your friends about us. It really helps in spreading the word.
And tell him how much you enjoy me being on because I only get invited back when he's desperate.
That's not true. Mm-hmm. That is not true.
No. Okay. Good night.